Hello. I hope that there's been a lot unfolding in the past week or so. And so I just want to take a moment to address all of that and just say, first of all, if you are listening in, I just want to say I am so grateful to you. I'm so happy that you're here. I am so excited to begin to speak with you and be in community with you and just have a good time together here in this space where my goal has always been just gonna wait because I live around a lot of planes. But I am so glad that you're here to just be a part of this journey where I am doing my best to curate a space where everyone that is here, that comes here, that seeks out this kind of information has resources that can help them build their self-awareness, help them deepen their intuition, help them foster a sense of self-love that allows them to be the most authentic version of themselves. This space is safe. This space is educational. This space is love. This space is full of love. And so for everyone that has seen that has seen my shorts and have resonated with that and have subscribed, I am so grateful that you are here, and I am excited to see what journeys are going to unfold. So first things first, get that out of the way. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're here. And please feel free to introduce yourself in the comments and just let me know what drew you in, what you're expecting, why you might be excited to interact with this content, and kind of help me to shape and curate the environment that I'm genuinely aiming for when it comes to this podcast. I'm very excited about that. Now, moving forward, I just want to say today is going to be a podcast episode, yes, in its entirety, but a lot of the topics that I want to speak on or that I have on my calendar to write on are so much, there's so much depth to them that I really don't want to miss the depth of what I'm trying to say with my more stream of consciousness, off the cuff episodes. And so I want to be a bit more diligent about writing them, providing resources for them. So yeah, I'm still trying to find the balance between a podcast that is natural, that feels good, and then a podcast that is informative and relatable and just has all of the components that make sitting and watching, well, not watching, but sitting and listening worthwhile. Another thing that I am going to say is guys, this is a podcast. Even though my listeners on YouTube, you can see me, this is a podcast. Please do not feel the need to sit here and watch me talk to you. And also, if you're in a rush, but you just want to get the information, feel free to listen to it on 1.5 or 2x speed. I will not be offended. As long as you're interacting with the content and it feels like it resonates with you and you have something to say, you want to say something, you want to gain something, by all means, Yes, these videos are still podcasts. I do have YouTube videos in the works. I have YouTube shorts that are in the works. Right now, my shorts are just video versions of my podcast episodes to publish or to broadcast, to bring attention to the fact that the podcast exists. But yes, that is what that is for the time being. And so let's get into just a recap of the week, and I'm going to just share with you a little bit of an experience that I've been having around just rest and having resources, having multiple resources. One of the future podcast episodes that I'm going to have is going to talk about having multiple resources, having multiple ways of providing joy for yourself and providing care for yourself, because sometimes having one modality is fine when you're just starting out and you have that one thing and you're very committed to it and you love it very much. It becomes an integral part of your life. However, when you're unable to do that thing, having other resources, having other forms of activities, creation that bring you joy is essential to maintaining center and being able to keep yourself grounded, especially when things are hard. So that's a long intro, and we're gonna get into it. I always feel so bad because I know that my intros are not consistent. The only thing that is consistent about my intros is the fact that I say, hey, my beloved family. It is your host, Ron Natalia, here to welcome you to another episode of the Fear Nothing, Feel Everything podcast, where I do my best to foster, nurture, and provide a safe environment for you and your blossoming authenticity. I hope that you have been journeying in love and grace since the last time. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, this one, I was supposed to say this first, and I'm so upset. I always so every time I start a podcast episode, there's supposed to be a hook that drags you in, pulls you in, right? And I never edit the hook to be in the beginning. I just say the hook at first, so when it comes to editing, it's easier. But self-improvement gurus are going to spit up their mushroom coffees and yeet their protein shakes when I say this. But, hot take, you don't have to work out to become a better version of yourself. If you don't like working out, I'm here to set you free, because the truth is, fitness isn't the only gateway to growth. That whole script is going to be for another episode, but that specific thing is very important to this episode, because when I first began my personal growth journey, the way that it started was wanting to physically be better. I was of the mind that if I was physically fit, it would be easier to love me, because I love, physically fit people are lovable. They're easy to love because they look good, right? So I was of that mind. And it was misguided, remarkably misguided. But fitness became my only resource for self-improvement. I would journal, but journaling at the time was more of a way to get my ideas, my thoughts on paper, to really sort through what was going on in my head. There was no real intention behind journaling at that time for me. So I had fitness, I had working out, and I had pushing myself in the gym. So if this was my only source of joy, if this was the only way that I felt I could center myself, alleviate my anger, feel my rage, and just go in the gym and just pound it out and then feel better, get the feel-good juices going in the brain, and I'd leave, what would happen is when I was sick, when I was ill, when I was burnt out, that was taken away from me. And I had no other way of regulating myself and finding ways to pour into myself that would feel as good, that would provide for me the care, the self-interest that I needed. And so the only other thing that I had, which was my vice before I got into training physically, was eating. Eating was very comforting to me for a very long time in my life. And so when you have one resource, it's beautiful. It is wonderful that you are working on yourself, that you are finding ways to pour into yourself. However, having multiple can benefit you because it's harder to backslide. It's harder to fall short. It's harder to have nothing else to turn to. This week in my life was very interesting for me because I became, that probably was loud, but I became ill. I didn't feel well. My little brother was sick the week before, and he was all over my room, and Lysol did not kill all the germs. So I had a thing going on with my throat. I think it was even present when I did my last podcast episode because I couldn't stop clearing my throat and coughing. So forgive me for that. I apologize. I just was like, the show must go on. Anyways, so I wasn't feeling well. And on top of that, It was my monthly. So I was lethargic. I was not feeling well. And I was trying to push through. A lot of the times, I'm good at pushing through. Is it always okay? No. But I've gotten better at listening to my body and allowing myself to hold space for me when I'm just not up to something. And it took me a while to realize that this was different than a lot of the times I have my monthly or a lot of the times that I'm sick. Because this was different because they were happening at the same time. And I did not realize the toll it was taking on my body until I went to work out. And I work out quite regularly when I'm not feeling well, especially on my monthly, because I don't experience it in a way that's entirely debilitating. But with being sick on top of that, I literally had issues walking for like long distances without feeling out of breath. And so I was like, okay, this is hard. I tried to go for a run, but I couldn't even get a mile in, which was very interesting for me. And I was very present with myself during, because I was like, okay, I need to feel this out. And the way that the feedback comes back from this experience is going to tell me what the rest of my week is going to look like. And when you ask for something, it will show itself. It will show up in a way that you have to have awareness to see it. I was working regularly. I have a job. I'm a personal trainer. And I'm also a mindset and authenticity coach. But I had a personal training session that day. No, the day after. So Thursday, I tried to work out, didn't work out. My body was breaking down. And the Thursday, I also didn't have any work clothes. So I was like, I'm just going to do laundry. However, there were a lot of things stepping in my way to not do the laundry. First things first, we didn't have any detergent. So I was like, okay, we don't have any detergent, but I need laundry. I have to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to go to the store. I went to the store, bought detergent, came home, and someone else had used the washing machine like for the majority of the day. If you know me, which you probably don't, but if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this a million times. I do not like doing laundry. It is my least favorite chore. I do not enjoy it at all. So the time came and I was like, okay, why can't I get laundry done to get clothes for work tomorrow? And on top of that, I don't even want to go to work tomorrow. You know what? I'm just going to text my client and say, hey, I can't come. And I hate rescheduling. I hate canceling, but this is that's the people pleasing thing. I needed to put myself first. And this laundry fiasco was the nail in the coffin for that, because I was not going to force myself to do laundry when I was exhausted to go to a job that I didn't want to do. That was a wall. And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen. This is the universe telling me that I don't need to go to work tomorrow. And so I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And today is Monday, and I have work today. I have multiple sessions today, but I feel phenomenal. And the reason why is because over the past 4 days, my physical training was taken away from me, and I had to lean on my other resources that bring me joy as I healed and as I looked after my body and as I was preparing myself to push again. And when I say push, I mean to do work, to create, to interact with people, and to foster deep, meaningful connections. I take my work, I wouldn't say seriously, but I take it to heart, because everything that I do that is in this niche, that is around this concept, that is around self-love, that is around self-improvement, is my life's purpose. It feeds my soul. It's for my heart. And so I never take it lightly, and I feel that I'm doing an injustice to the people that listen to me, that I am in service to when I'm not my best, but I try to show up. Because I think it's teaching 2 things, and one of the main things is, one thing that I really don't want to teach is not listening to your body and digging a hole when you shouldn't. And when I say digging a hole when you shouldn't, it's like when you know you need to rest, when you know you need to take a break, when you have a lot of things telling you it's time to take a break and you don't take that break. I am not a person that's going to set that example, because I have done that my entire life and it has led to nothing but prolonged illness, prolonged sense of feeling unappreciated, and a lot of self-worth and deservingness degradation. So that I will never encourage. And so when the time came and my body was asking for rest and the universe was telling me to rest, I always say yes. The reason being is because everything that you will worry about falling apart, if you were to take a step back, isn't going to fall apart. You taking the rest is actually the test. It's, do you think you deserve it? Do you think you are deserving of care? Do you think you're deserving of rest? Do you think you're deserving of your own love, your own time? And so, in those days of rest where I could not physically train, which was literally once my only modality of grounding, of centering myself, I had to pull in a lot of my other resources to heal, to refill my cup, to re-energize myself. And I can say, like, even though I was not resistant to taking the time at first, I was resistant to leaning on my other resources. So things like stretching, meditation, mindful meals, and not being constantly distracted by my analytics or like doing other work, like my YouTube analytics, my Instagram analytics, like not being like, oh, what can I do to make this better? How can I improve this? Literally on Friday afternoon, even though I had taken the day off, I had spent the day at home and I was catering to my body. I was being nice to myself physically, but at the same time, I was like, oh, but now I have all this time, I can edit a video. And I edited a video for about 3 to 5 hours that day. And I had come away from it with the worst headache I had ever experienced in a long time. I don't get headaches. But the main driver behind this headache was the fact that I could not look at anything that had a bright concentration of light for a very long time. So maybe it was a migraine. I was bothered by my screen, so I couldn't look at my computer screen. I couldn't look at my phone. And so I just had to lay there, me and my ceiling and my windows and my plants. And I had to stay present. And I would not distract myself with work or thinking of anything like that. I just closed my eyes. And meditation came to me, checking in with myself came to me, being mindful of my body came to me, asking myself what I wanted, checking in. And I was like, what do you need right now? Yeah, you have a headache. I'm not a huge fan of taking painkillers because I feel like it's another form of ignoring signals from our body. And so I was like, what do you need? What can I do to help you? And I stretched. I did some stretches for the tension I was feeling in my shoulders and in my neck. That helped. And then I had some tea that was relaxing, and that helped. And I was just spending time in my room with myself, existing. And it was okay. I allowed myself to slow down and not worry about anything but me for a very long time. And I leaned on my other resources because anything that was strenuous, even though I enjoy working out, I knew it would have been strenuous. And by the laws of recovery alone, I knew it would have made me sick for longer because it would have caused stress, undue stress. I didn't need that added stress. My body was already under a lot of stress. I even ran a fever at some point because I didn't step back soon enough. I ran a fever the night that I had that massive headache, and I woke up with that headache. And it wasn't as profound or pronounced, but it was enough to make me dedicate time to saying, okay, you're not going to have any screens today. And then I think I did a second day of no screens, but it was more minimal because I wanted to watch football. So I was like, no screens except for football. And I cooked for myself. So things that feed my authenticity and that bring me joy can be movement. Movement is very important to me. I love movement. But movement can also be things like dancing, or stretching, those are good. Those pour into me. Those make me feel centered. They connect me to myself and they put me in my body, and I'm very aware of where I am and what I need. And then another thing is singing. Singing is a form of meditation that I very much enjoy. Cooking. Cooking is another one for me. Cooking is very much, it brings me a lot of joy because a lot of people that have loved me, truly loved me and cared for me, at some point in my life has cooked with me or cooked for me. And so cooking is a very strong way that I show myself love, that I understand that I am loved. And so I cooked myself from very healthy, mindful meals, and I enjoyed them, and that was nice. But notice how if I had only had working out as a way to ground myself, center myself, and feel cared for, I would have had a worse time being sick. I would have been more negative and down in the dumps about it because I would have been like, why is this happening to me? Why can't I just work out? I'm just trying to do something good for myself. And I would have been stuck in a doom and gloom cloud because that was all I had. And to be honest, I would not, if I'm being really honest, I would not have listened to my body and I would not have not worked out. I would have gone to the gym anyway, felt like crap, dug the hole deeper, and probably would have been sick for longer. Or if I was the very, 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 very young version of myself that was still dealing with like binge eating, I would have eaten and I would have felt guilty about it and I would have felt gross because I would have probably eaten something that didn't agree with me, that made me feel sick, even though in the moment it was pleasurable. And then I would have felt guilty afterwards for having eaten it because I would have known that it would have made me feel sick and it would probably would have been in excess, and that would have been no good either. And so I'm grateful for my growth. I am grateful for my growth. And whenever I'm sick, whenever I need to take a step back, that's when I realize that I've grown the most. Because a younger version of me hated taking breaks, hated stepping back, hated feeling defeated by life, because I was under the impression that you have to constantly be going, you have to constantly be on. If you're not working, if you're not doing something, you're worthless. You aren't providing, you aren't making money, you aren't, you know what I mean? It's like that hustle and that grind mindset. And it did a lot to my self-worth to be the only person that validates whether or not I'm deserving of love. Yes, I was sick. Yes, I could not do any work, but I still was deserving of love, of my love especially. I actually needed my love then more than on any other day. Not that my love varies day to day. I love myself unconditionally always, but it was so important in that moment to be love for myself and to provide love for myself because I needed it. I needed support. I needed care, and I could do that for myself. And it didn't take away from anything else that I had to do because everything else can wait. Everything else works because I work, because I am well. I cannot do my best work when I don't feel well. So if I showed up and I was sick, if I showed up and I was not the best version of myself, and I was trying to mentor someone or actively listen to someone or provide resources for someone, I could not be fully present because my body was in a place where it couldn't fully connect. I was sick. I was in pain. I was tired. I was lethargic. I needed sleep. Usually I function off of 7 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. That's how much sleep my body desires. Sometimes it's less. And when I'm sick, my sleep goes up to about 8 to 10 hours. I sleep for 8 to 10 hours when I'm not feeling well, and I nap during the day. So, and that's not normal for me. I try not to nap during the day because when I nap during the day, I can't sleep at night. But when I'm sick, I can sleep whenever, forever. So It's important. It's important to listen to your body, and it's important to allow yourself grace when you're not 100%, because you aren't your best self. And the people that you love, including you, deserves your best self. The planes are going crazy today. I think there's been like, in this 30 minutes, there's been like 4 planes. Anyways, so the main thing that I want to say is, if you want to be a better version of yourself, which if you are here, I believe that that is a goal. I believe that constantly growing, constantly improving is the goal. For me, I always say I'm ever growing, ever changing. I don't ever want to be the same. I love who I am, but the fact that I have become this version of myself means that there's potential to continue to be more. And so I'm always in for evolution, transformation. I'm in love with it. I'm in love with who I am now, and I'm in love with the version of myself that I am going to be. So, allowing yourself grace, understanding that you need your love the most when you are down. A lot of the times we are like, oh, I wish someone was here to take care of me. And you are there. You are there to take care of you. You are there to make sure that you get what you need. Even if that's simply by making your needs known. If you do live with other people, being like, hey, help me. That's your voice, like you're not just sitting there and suffering in silence. That's beautiful. That's autonomy. And so also raising awareness around how many modalities of love, like providing yourself love, nurturing yourself, grounding yourself and centering yourself, how many modalities do you have? If one of them was taken away from you, would you have a sufficient amount of backups or other things that you enjoy to continue to pour into yourself so that you don't feel lost or misaligned or out of alignment? Like I said, if this were a younger version of me, like my whole day would be derailed when I couldn't go to the gym, because that was how I regulated myself emotionally, emotionally, mentally. The gym was that thing that I leaned on, and I didn't have anything else. So I just want to make sure that we are forming well-rounded self-care and self-love practices to make sure that if something is taken away from us, we can fill that gap with something else. If you're stuck at home for an extended period of time and you can't go to a gym, maybe you have workout equipment at home and that's awesome. But what if you get injured? Like, do you have things to call in that pours into you in a way that's meaningful, that you love, that you enjoy? I think that it's important to be aware of that. And if you don't, maybe have a sit down and see what else can you incorporate, and make sure that it feels like love and then it doesn't feel like work. Oh my, what do y'all do? Is it an air show today? It's funny because it almost feels like they're circling. Anyways, while I have silence, I just want to again reiterate that I'm so grateful that you are here. I know that this podcast episode was a little bit more of a check-in as opposed to a lecture. I don't know. I'm trying to find a middle ground. So yeah, let me know. I feel like let me know, what does your self-care and your self-love practice look like? And how does it change when things don't go your way? I am very much gearing towards the even if mindset. It's even if I can't do this, I can do this. I have the power to do this. You know what I mean? So I'm very curious. Let me know, what does your self-care and your self-love practice look like? And if you don't have one yet, that's okay. 100%. Let's chop it up in the comments and maybe I can see if I can help you guys build one. Yeah, I think that's it for today. I am happy that I'm feeling better. I'm excited for all the things that I'm putting together and building to continue to provide resources to this community. You guys are small, but you are beautiful, and I'm so glad that you are here. I love you immensely, and I look forward to getting to know you better and spending more time building what is to come. So, with that being said, I want you all to remember that you are unconditionally loved by God, the universe, your spirit guides, and all your ancestors, and me. And until next time, remember to journey in love and grace. I mean, that's it. Love and grace always. Okay. Bye. Cheers to all the planes.